We need more education overall in this country when it comes to finances, when it comes to politics, when it comes to everything, because I feel like nowadays they go to school and they get taught on how to be on TikTok and how to become famous on TikTok for something so dumb.
Welcome to Real Investing for the Everyday Investor, where we talk to real estate professionals and just really break down the barriers of the pontificating gurus and just what's relevant to the everyday real estate professional. Today we have Yasmin in here, who has a mortgage company. I'm really excited to have her in here because she's kind of aloof on the internet, doesn't really get out there, and she is highly connected into the world of entrepreneurs, but is kind of private. So it's really cool and awesome that we have her for a podcast.
Absolutely, and I would like to congratulate Ryan Harper. This is the 7th time he's tried to do the intro, and he nailed it.
You know, it's funny because like for Paleo days, we would do live like 3, 5, 10 times a week, and I can do it. I can do live, but you can ask Paul. Like if I'm recording this 88 times at least, I cannot do it.
And the beautiful thing is it lets Yasmin feel comfortable that you own a media company.
Shit, yeah.
And there's nothing to be bashful about. But
yeah,
thank you for being here.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. So let's get into it. So what is your real estate resume? What's your CV? Like, what is it you do?
So I am a mortgage broker. I started back in 2017. I worked for corporate America for many years. And I started to realize how corporate America was taking advantage of a lot of consumers. And so after a couple of years, I decided to start my own company and learn from their mistakes to make a mortgage company better than them.
So you worked with corporate America in the mortgage industry, or you had like something before and now mortgage?
No, so I worked for corporate America within the mortgage
Gotcha.
industry for multiple companies.
Gotcha. Should we name them or just avoid that and just like...
We can always name them.
Just name them.
I worked for Pacific Union Financial, for AmeriSafe, for Mr. Cooper, for Mortgage Solutions Financial, and let's just say Mr. Cooper was probably the worst company I ever worked for.
And what's funny is Mr. Cooper is the only one. Like one of my investment properties years ago, and I like to say I'm a dumb idiot a lot. And when it was
Is that repetitive?
Yes. Redundant.
Dumb idiot or redundant?
Redundant. Ah! Anyway, there we go. No, but it was a sub 2 deal, and I didn't know Mr. Cooper was a thing. And then I'm like, this can't be a real document. This can't be a real company.
I just got a letter from Mr. Cooper.
Yeah.
It's got to be a joke.
And he says that we owe $300,000. I'm like, Mr. Cooper? Who are you? Anyway, sorry.
You got to send the letter back. Well, this is Mr. Harper.
right, yeah.
You need to send me $400,000.
So earlier you were saying that your main... So right now you mainly focus on minority or borrowers. Is that something that in retaliation or reaction to your corporate life?
That is correct, yes. So unfortunately, when I worked for multiple mortgage companies, I started to realize that a lot of those lenders were taking advantage of minorities. Mm-hmm. They were taking advantage of people who didn't speak the language. They would just tell them to sign here, and you'll get a house. But these people, they didn't know what they were signing in the first place, and so because they didn't speak the language, and so what I did is I created a mortgage company which educates the customer in their language on what the process is, what they need to do to get pre-approved, and what type of loan they qualify for and everything, and what it actually means when they get qualified. Because a lot of these lenders, they were just charging them fees, and they didn't really know what type of fees, what the paperwork that they signed meant or anything like that.
As a lender, I do like to charge fees. I'm just going to say it. Fees are good for me. You said that you don't. In their language, you're referring to Spanish. Correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Spanish, Farsi, Mandarin.
So your mortgage company is. You have people fluent in all of those languages?
That's correct.
Very nice.
That's correct.
I hired a loan officer recently that's fluent in French and Spanish.
I speak Texan.
Send him my way. I want to hire him.
He's like, that's my
He's
guy.
busy.
So and you say my company. What is the name of your company?
HomeForce.
There we go. So you got to
HomeForce?
plug. You got to plug it.
Yes.
HomeForce.
Yeah, plug. do that again.
No, that's where you made the mistake on that
I
one
know.
episode.
Check it,
You
check
did
it.
it once. And
Yeah,
that's
just an ongoing joke. So talking about taking advantage, you named a couple of examples, but what are the and we don't want to name the people, but like, how are they allegedly taking advantage? Like the big banks, like what are the normal things that they would do to take advantage?
And as you think about the answer, quick disclaimer.
Oh, there we go.
We all believe in equal housing. And I don't think anyone at this podcast is unwilling to do business with anyone of any race, sex, religion, creed, nationality, or origin. However, your niche, your marketing niche, the clients you the clients you cater to are those that need maybe some translating ability, would you say?
That's correct.
Okay, so this is not she's not going to help a guy that looks like me get a loan. Okay, she's found a hole in the market that needs I'd say more service, and she's providing the service.
Leave it to a lender to immediately go, okay, I don't want to get sued.
Well, I don't. And neither does she.
I know.
And neither does she,
I know.
promise you.
Trust me, it's
And
just
neither
so
do you,
highly
the producer.
regulated.
Right. I've only been sued once, and I got paid, so maybe I want to get sued more.
No, you don't.
No?
Not with our name
Not
attached,
in this
right?
No.
So anyway, I didn't mean to.
No, you're
derail.
fine. Disclaimers are good when we're talking about legal stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, I believe in. I'm going to stop. I believe in access to housing because owning and the ownership of homes has literally changed the direction of my family. Mm-hmm. And I do believe there are prohibitive boundaries for people of color and people where English is not their first language to understanding the complicated paperwork involved in real estate transactions.
Absolutely.
So I think you're shedding light on that and you're trying to help get them to the level of understanding to where you're not just doing it for them and translating the document, you're helping them understand what the document means.
That's correct.
And just to jump in real quick, just because I don't think it's, when you're talking about the difficulties of this type of work, like, I speak great English, maybe not, but I speak English and I don't understand the document. So like, it just is what it is. But anyway, it's all you. Sorry.
I forgot what your question was.
The question was...
I'm sorry.
Yeah. The question was, like, when it comes to taking advantage, like, what should be... I'll reword the question. What are things that people should be looking out for when it comes to, like, the big banks, the big corporate world of lending? Like, how do they take advantage of people?
So what a lot of lenders do is they tell them that they offer competitive pricing, obviously competitive rates. Unfortunately, they don't actually educate them. So, when it comes to rates, you can only do so much.
But is it their job to educate?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
I mean, there's a document on their
as
loans.
a loan officer.
There's a document on their loans that say truth in lending. So it's kind of like, if you're going to give someone a document that says truth in lending, it should be the truth.
Okay. Yeah.
It should
No,
definitely
I'm just being
be the
devil's
truth.
advocate. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of them, they think they're getting a better rate, but in reality, they're actually paying points for that rate.
Right.
And that's something that they don't tell the customer.
Yeah.
I truly believe that the at par rate sometimes is actually better for the customer. And so what I do is I educate them and I tell them, based on what you've told me and what you want to accomplish, I think that you should look into this. And so I define everything that's on that paper and I let them make a decision that way. What a lot of lenders do is they just tell them, okay, you need to sign right here, you need to sign right here, you need to sign right here. Okay, you're ready to go. Congratulations on your home.
Yeah, so you see this a lot in the investment industry, these debt service coverage ratio loans that people can get for rental properties. The at par rate, which is, for those of you listening that don't know mortgage,
That was going to be my
vernacular.
question. I was like, I don't know what that is.
At par, I mean, it's kind of, you're not paying any points to buy down a rate. It's like the standard pricing, right? And like on my loans, on my 30-year rental loans, if you want to pay a point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, you could buy your par pricing down from 7.25 to like 6.5. But an individual, I mean, I'd say, well, look, my customers aren't really sophisticated. I love you guys, but like we're all just a bunch of entrepreneurs trying to get by.
Right.
Don't understand the paperwork, but at least like it's typically given to us as an option. Like, look, you can pay a point and get this rate, or 4 points and get that rate, and you figure it out. What she's saying is people are like, oh, I got you a 6.5% rate. The customer says, great. They don't understand that they just paid $10,000 up front to get that rate.
Because the points.
And I'm going to guess. Ooh, wow, crystal ball. I just shimmied again. Jesus. Your sometimes opinion would be don't pay the points. There's no prepayment penalty. Let's get the loan at par today, even if it's 7 3/4. 2 years from now, refi. And if you pay points, you don't want to refi in 2 years because now you're losing money. But if you don't pay points, you take the par pricing, you can wait a couple years, refinance, and you come out ahead.
Right.
Am I assuming that's...
Right.
Because I agree with you.
So there are certain customers, obviously, that financially it does make sense for them to pay points. But most customers, especially the customers that I receive sometimes, it's actually better for them to just get the at par rate. Especially right now, a lot of our customers, their debt to income ratio is extremely high. So it's important that they understand that we need to keep their debt to income ratio down. But when they're paying points, obviously the loan amount increases. And, they don't understand that. They don't understand that they're paying for it. And that's what a lot of lenders don't tell them.
What I would also assume is because if there's points up front and they're putting money up front, they're thinking, oh, this is my down payment. I would assume, because that's what I would think.
Well,
if I'm having
they'll roll the points in too.
When they refinance, they roll the points.
Okay.
And so most of them don't know. The lender's like, oh, yeah, we'll get you a better rate, better than that person. But what they're actually doing is they're rolling the points and increasing the loan size.
I'll show my ignorance here because I have no problem being authentic. My ratio of creative financing and hard money financing and just, hey, here's money versus like traditional financing is like, I mean, you know how many current transactions I was with you. I've never bought a house with traditional financing. Everything I've ever been a part of has just been like duct tape and bubble gum and co-hangers and just, hey, here's your credit card. So like, I can't imagine like all that process, like, because it's foreign to me. And again, I'm sorry if I look like an idiot, but it is what it is.
You don't look like an idiot.
What about now?
The outtakes of the show.
Yeah.
All right, so relatively high rate environment. The at par rate is somewhat higher than probably the 30-year average of rates. What are you seeing in the mortgage market, and after you've educated the customer, what are you seeing people do?
At the end of the day, they still need a home. Everyone needs a home. So they have no choice but to get a mortgage for them to be able to purchase a home. So what a lot of my borrowers do is, they get the at par rate, and then I advise to them that later on, when interest rates go down, they can always refinance. Because if they get the at par rate, sometimes they actually get credit. And so that's also...
What do you mean by that? Sorry.
So they basically... So let me give you an example. Instead of paying for points for paying down the interest rate, they actually get money back in a way that pays off their closing costs. So whether it's $300, $800, it depends. But the at par rate sometimes gives them money.
If you don't roll the points in, sometimes you can roll some of the closing costs in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you don't necessarily have to come to the table with too much money. It's just maybe here's your first month rent or whatever. Not rent, but lease.
Not essentially.
Loan payment.
It just lowers the out of pocket.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Out-of-pocket.
lowers the closing cost sometimes.
I've been out of real
Depending
estate for a minute.
on the market.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of variables. But like I said, I have noticed that, and honestly, it really upsets me because if those were my parents, I wouldn't want them in that position. A lot of them don't really know what they're doing, what they're signing when they're in that position. They're just desperate to get a home.
Right, and they're tired of paying increasing rents that go up and up and up and up and up. I mean, I don't even know what the average market rent in Dallas is anymore.
Fantastic.
It's about $2,000.
Fantastic.
Holy hell.
Ron, I got this house in Mesquite that we just renewed. I signed it this morning. That's how I know. When we bought it 5 years ago, I bought it for like 80, spent like 30 or 40.
Yeah.
It was renting for $1,200, $2,100 for a 322 in Mesquite.
I've been living in the same place since 2011, and I've never had a rate increase. But I also live with my best friends. So
I was about to say, my son hadn't had a rate increase either, but
I pay
he also doesn't pay.
Yeah,
So.
$500 a month, and there we go, all bills included. It's like, boom.
You just don't know. You're the security guard.
Apparently, and my dog, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, we're good. And my guns. Guns and guns. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, guns, dogs, not a small guy.
There we go.
Yeah, it's pretty good security.
There we go. Yeah. So what, it's funny because it came up in an earlier episode, but like what's your why? Like why do you feel passionate to do what you're doing?
I saw a lot when I worked for corporate America. I got extremely burnt out because I realized that a lot of lenders were taking advantage of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of lawsuits going on with all of the lenders that I named. If you Google them, you'll see. And they not only took advantage of their borrowers, but they also took advantage of the people that worked for them. And that's actually something that happened to me. I had a lender not pay me for over 10 loans. So my why I started this company is not only because I needed to start my own company, I had no choice. But on top of that, I feel like it's my job to educate the customer. Not only that, my parents migrated from Mexico to the U.S. to give me a better future. And I understand what they went through when they purchased their house because they told me. I understand what a lot of people that migrate to the U.S. go through because there's no one that actually helps them. And a lot of them, they work in construction, so they get paid cash, and then they're trying to purchase a house and they don't qualify. If there was someone like maybe me that could tell them, hey, what you need to do is you need to file your taxes accordingly so that you can qualify for a loan, because a lot of these guys, they don't.
It's just cash.
It's just cash.
Well, nobody's ever taught them that they just go get an ITIN number, they can file a tax return, and now they have documented income, and now they're financeable. Like
Get the credit card.
right,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of times they're taught, well, you're illegal or undocumented or whatever, and they don't. That's the end of the conversation. There's no like, here's what you could do.
Is it
Yeah.
also culture? Because like in not maybe not necessarily Mexico, but like let's just say South America and Latin America in general, like is it a cultural thing where it's safer to keep your money under a mattress versus in a bank, because if the bank could rob you or the bank could go under and then you lose everything? Is that a thing, or is that just something I vaguely remember from some random TV show?
Absolutely, it's definitely a thing. I feel like most of South America is actually just cash-based. Right now, I am noticing that they're starting to invest in crypto, and they're
El
doing.
Salvador.
El Salvador
Yeah.
is a great example. They're focused on Bitcoin. Mexico right now, they're bringing on financing, but back in the day, I really didn't hear about credit cards or financing or anything like that. It was all cash.
In the 70s, when they devalued the peso overnight, I mean, literally, like the math was something like you had $1 million when you went to sleep and you had 1,000 when you woke up. Like, so the distrust of the government and of a centralized banking system. If there's still a peso tomorrow and I have some under my bed, you can't devalue them. If they're in your bank, you can devalue them. I'll never forget, I started buying houses back in 2002, a minute ago, and we sold a lot of houses owner finance to, and now we sold houses owner finance, and most of our customers ended up being of Hispanic origin, or Mexican origin to be accurate. And I'll never forget one of the first ones we sold. This guy comes in with this duffel bag, like and like lays it on the desk. He's like, you said 40,000, right? And I'm like, whoa, yeah. Can you pack that up and take it somewhere else? Like, you know, in our country, I can't take that or I'll get arrested. But no, it's like, it's a real thing.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you bring that up because out of all the, and I won't get into them on air, but of all the stereotypes of different races or different peoples or different cultures,
We're deleting this section.
are we? No, but I was just saying the one that was that I've always heard is because a lot of people would assume that maybe the Mexicans, they don't have money. It was like in real estate investors, that's the stereotype that was never there. It's always like, no, they have got money. They may not look, some people may not look like they have money, but I promise you they have money stored away under a mattress. They can pull their money together. There's money there. So that was always a stereotype that, you know, no matter what the face value is, whatever book cover, whatever the expression is, judge a book by a cover, that book, they got money. That was always the stereotype.
Absolutely. And something that I'm seeing now more than ever is that a lot of people that are in construction or they're electricians, and they're making a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
They're making more than doctors. And they're also investing their money now. They're educating themselves. They're trying to learn on how to build their wealth. But
you need to have them call me.
I'll definitely have.
So we don't require that you're a U.S. citizen to borrow from us. We require that you have a U.S. company, right? So as long as we got a Texas LLC,
right, it's
not for owner occupants. It's only for non-owner occupants. She getting ideas over there. She's like, I'll hook you up with some LLCs. But no, I've got several friends that don't have Social Security numbers that run very successful companies in America that are buying and flipping houses with Ternus. I mean, I don't care. I mean, if you got a U.S. company that's the borrower, I don't need a personal guarantor. We've got people in Israel. We've got people in Mexico. It doesn't matter. And so I think the barriers are starting to lift a little bit, specifically with, I would say, the information and the education that people like yourself are providing.
Absolutely. And I feel like a lot of us need to start to realize that, the Hispanic community and every other community in South America, and also Africa, because I have noticed a lot of people from Africa that are starting to come in with lots of cash, trying to purchase a lot of properties, Chinese. That's also something else that I've noticed. They have a lot of cash. They just don't understand what the process is.
I tell people all the time, people will call them, try to buy a house from me. They're like, you don't understand, I'm paying cash. I'm like, man, I don't care if you're paying in pesos. That's just, it's going to the title company, going to my bank account. So I don't care how you pay. Cash, pesos, Bitcoin. As long as it converts to U.S. dollars and hits my bank, we're good.
Right. So what lessons have you learned the most in this journey of starting a business and then that caters towards maybe an under what's the word?
A marginalized community.
There we go.
I've learned a lot of lessons, unfortunately.
Let's talk about the positive stuff.
Yeah.
You're enabling home ownership. You're enabling people to own their future, build wealth, and you're helping them do it where it's maybe more in their interest than it was before. So let's talk about maybe some good things that you've been able to accomplish at your mortgage company.
So I've been able to accomplish a lot of great things. So I actually have a group of guys who have their own construction company, and they built it out about maybe 2-3 years ago. And so now they're making a lot of cash, and they're like, hey, we want to purchase a whole bunch of properties. We want to invest. We want to buy land. We want to do all of this. And I'm like, okay, slow down a little bit. You have to start with one, and then you go on to the next one. And, I feel like now more than ever, it's the market for that. Because one, there's a lot of homes in the market that are much cheaper than they used to be. And there's a lot of opportunity because a lot of these homes, they're trying to get rid of them. At the end of the day, a lot of people are losing their homes because they can't afford it, because they're losing their corporate job. But, certain markets are good and certain markets are bad. I know the tech industry right now is not doing quite well. A lot of layoffs going on. Corporate America overall, there's been a lot of layoffs, so a lot of them can't afford to have their home right now, and they're going into foreclosure. And so that creates an opportunity for people who are on that side of things, in the real estate side of things, whether it's in construction or, they're electricians or they're, builders or roofers. And so they're making money and they want to invest their money. And so they're purchasing all of these houses, whether it's from wholesalers or whether it's from, the auction and stuff like that. And so I feel like now more than ever, it's a great opportunity to buy a house.
I mean, look, the time to buy is always now. The next best time is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Always. If you wait, every day there are more people in this country by births or whatever, and it's been that way for 280 years. Like, people love America. People will come to America. People in America have babies. Even the great pandemic did not erase the population. There are more people in America today than ever before, and I will be able to repeat that sentence tomorrow, and it will still be true. And there's not more money. Well, now we print money. But the whole point is we have to keep printing money because there's more people and they work longer, and you're just going to need more money for them to survive. And so if anybody that thinks, well, housing, it's going to bust, it's going to go down, it may a year, it may a month, it may a quarter, it may 5 years, but you cannot find a single point in the history of the United States of America where a home was worth less in a 10-year period than when that 10-year period started.
Yeah, time always is undefeated when it comes to real estate.
Undefeated.
Yeah, because like whether you buy it today or tomorrow, trying to time the real estate market, I get it, but if you have the patience and the runway, you'll be
and
fine.
the right financing.
That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because that's the better point, because like how many deals get destroyed because of financing?
Yeah.
And I think that's to your point of when you get taken advantage of high rates or the points,
Or a balloon note, or a variable interest rate,
Yeah.
or some of these other things that, I mean, look, I run a mortgage company. I have salespeople. They know how to get paid, right? They know how to add some points on, add some fees on, lower rate, yield spread. Like, it's the math. And I'm in business to make money. So if they make money, I make money, like we all win.
Yeah.
But there's a fine line between, I won't say deceptive trade practices. I mean, because I'm not accusing those big companies of that. But there's a fine line between, she puts herself out as like an advisor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I'm a facilitator. You want to buy the house, I can fund you quickly, right? Like,
Right.
we're not,
Yeah.
I'm not your mentor, I'm not your savior, I'm your lender.
Well, we've talked about this before, where with hard money,
Private lending.
apologies.
No, it's hard.
With private lending, hard money, whatever, you're servicing a niche of people that are trying to buy, flip, wholesale, whatever property. And you've said before, I don't know if you ever said on camera, but it's like, some people sell time, some people sell price, and some people sell convenience. You would rather sell on convenience and time than price. Other people, they'll sell on price, but they suck on all these other factors. So it's a balancing act.
Yeah, there's good, fast, and cheap, and you only get two.
Right.
And I'm good, and I'm fast, and I'm not cheap.
Right.
And I'm proud of that.
Yeah. Do you ever study history, like the '08 crash and all that stuff?
Absolutely.
So the reason I ask is because you always hear everything's cyclical and history repeats itself. Are there things that you've seen, and I'm asking from naiveness and not really knowing, like '08, because you see on the benches, like that, it seems like some of these mortgage companies didn't learn their lesson, 15, 16 years ago. Do you see some of that kind of circling back?
Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, recently I saw that in New York City, 2 loan officers and I guess their mortgage company that they were running, they got accused of fraud. Unfortunately, what they were doing is they were actually they were originating loans for investors as primary homeowners rather than investment properties. And so the way I see that is it's just so sad that they've risked it all. They went to jail for that. I mean, it's just really sad. I wouldn't do that whatsoever because it's just such a highly regulated industry. And so that if you do something wrong, eventually you'll get caught up with it and you will go to jail.
Yeah, they're gonna throw the book.
And regulation aside, like my mama taught me, like anything you have to do at night and hope nobody catches you is probably a bad idea, right? Like it's just like do what you're supposed to do, be above board. But I do have to say, like, so number one, foreclosures are not spiking nationwide. There are some pockets, there are some little price bands, etc. Unemployment nationwide is still near historic lows. I think, a little bit to your point, it's nowhere near, and to answer your question, it's nowhere near what I personally experienced in 08 or 09. It doesn't feel like 07. Kind of feels a little bit like 06. But in 06, we were building literally 5 times more houses than we are right now.
Right.
I mean...
So do you think that the lesson there is like people have a self-governor because they're like, well, maybe we don't expand? Because it seems like nowadays there's a demand for it, but maybe we don't build for it quite yet because we're scared we'll...
But I argue that demand's not really there, man. Like,
really?
People are saying there's a demand just because they're like, well, look how many people turn 35. It's like, okay, yeah, but,
no, but
a $5 footlong is $13 freaking dollars.
Yeah, but you can walk outside and see, like, if I drive home, I'm going to probably see at least 7 new apartment builds being built right now.
Yeah, there's a record number of deliveries on, and now they're starting to do free rent. Now they're starting to do...
Okay.
Because you got to remember, every one of those apartments was started in 21.
Yeah.
Right, that land was bought in 20 or 21.
So when they come live, then the vacancies are going to be high because...
Yeah, most of those developers will be in foreclosure.
Yeah.
A lot of them are now.
Yeah, a lot of them have already been through foreclosure once or twice.
Yeah.
Because their performance shit. They're done. I mean, talk about dead man walking. I mean, imagine having a $100 million mortgage, trying to figure out if you're going to lose 20 or 30 million. Like,
yeah. So the multifamily market, I don't.
No, and what's happening is I will say this, and you probably experience this a lot because you work more with consumers than I do. Like, people are hurting with inflation, right?
They are.
Mean, and so what you're seeing is these 35-year-olds, these 30-year-olds, these 25-year-olds that would have been homeowners, they're like, man, Mom, Dad, can I live with you? And Mom and Dad got a 2.5% mortgage, and they're like, you know what? We'll build a house behind the house. We'll build an ADU. Like, that's a cool growing trend, right?
Yeah.
And, I think you're going to see for the next couple years that demand isn't as strong. 1, because rates are relatively high. 2, because cost of living is very high. And 3, because, like, these parents can't sell their house. They're rate locked. Yeah. They're just going to be multi-generational housing.
Well, and I'd be interested in...
Except for my son. You ain't living at home.
There you go. But, like, I mean, I feel like an old fart when I go to the grocery store because I'm like, yeah, thank you. Because, like, like I look at like a 12-pack of Dr. Pepper and it's like $10, and I'm like, this should be $2.99. What is going on? And you're like, at least bottled water is still $4 or $5, but like, for like a 12-pack or 24-pack. But like everything else, you're just like, yeah, I don't make a lot of money, but I'm also not like dying. But at the same time, I don't understand. Like, there's no way people can keep up with this. Right. And I know this is kind of off topic, but you just opened it up.
I agree with you 100%. And I was actually reading up that now a lot of schools, what they're doing is they're educating them on finances.
They should have been doing that for 30 years.
I agree with you. Because there is something that I've seen, and it's very, very common, is that, a lot of these people, they're making over 6 figures, but they also have $150,000 cars. They also max out their credit cards. And, they're trying to qualify for
was
$1 million house.
The Dallas Express, the $50,000 millionaire.
Yes.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, yes, you're making a lot of money, but you don't have any money. You're broke because, I mean, you're spending all of your money on nonsense. And so I truly believe that, they should be educated, whether it's at school, whether, they go to like a financial education platform online and they take it, because I'm seeing it more and more. A lot of them don't qualify because of that. I mean, credit cards are all-time high.
Yeah. So credit card debt, all-time high. Credit card delinquencies nearing all-time high. Automobile debt, all-time high. Automobile debt nearing all-time high delinquencies. And I've been hearing people talk about the new rebates on cars, and now they can't move cars and all that. And then I picked up the newspaper. You ever heard of a newspaper? Like the thing that's made out of paper. I still read it. Like that way, not like on my iPad. But like you open it up and like every page now, like during COVID, they got rid of the auto section. It's kind of like, oh, you would like to run an ad? Great, we'll put it on page 2 because you're the only one. Now there's an auto section again, right? And I've been hearing a lot of my friends talking about, well, now's the time to buy a new truck. The 2024s are like getting heavily discounted. Even the King Ranches, like, and that starts perking your ears. You're kind of like, wait a second, like 2 years ago that was special ordered, wait a year and a half. And then I took my truck to get serviced at the dealership the other day, and when I picked it up, the parking lot was so full of new vehicles, like they had to start moving vehicles to get my truck out. And I just remember 2 years ago, that thing was half empty.
3 years ago is fully empty.
Yeah. And so I think there are some consumer debt things coming that will ultimately impact people's ability to qualify for a mortgage, that will probably feed some rental demand or force multi-generational housing, which then I guess the entire thing I'm trying to say is, who knows? Buy a house.
Hi, I'm Tim Harridge. I'm an expert. I don't know shit.
Yeah. Buy a house now.
So one thing, another reason I want to bring Yasmin in is not only in the mortgage side, but also an entrepreneur. And it's one of the things that she doesn't really talk about that much. And, she's done crypto and investments and you spend 5 minutes talking to her and you're like, oh my God, there's a lot. So I'd like to get into some of the more entrepreneurship stuff. I almost said something different, but like, because like another thing is like, because you seemingly are connected to rooms that like I've never been a part of, like the where everybody's got 9 figures, 10 figures and whatnot. So like,
whoa, what rooms are these?
Absolutely.
The ones that we're not in.
Absolutely.
Well, who says I'm not?
Well,
I just want to know if I'm not in that room, because then I need to go get in that room.
That's why I'm bringing it up. Yeah.
I mean, the type of individuals that I do hang out around, they are billionaires. I mean, a lot of my friends, sometimes I call them and they're like, oh, hey, I just made $300,000 today. And so it's like not a big deal for them. And so I like being in those rooms because not only, they know more than I do and I can learn from them, but also on top of that, they're extremely motivating and they're great people. How did I get into those rooms? Unfortunately, I've just been introduced to people that know people and I made my way in there, and I also eventually want to run for politics. So that's also another thing that I love to do, politics, because now more than ever, there's a lot going on in this country that needs to be fixed, and so I want to be that person.
I want to talk about politics. Why do you want to get into politics? Why not just be a mortgage broker? I'm just kidding.
Because there's a lot in this country that needs to change.
Yeah? Like what?
Let's start with our president.
Well, who are we going to get? Because, I mean, one's asleep and the other's in jail, so I don't know.
Brand new one.
Yeah. Well, like, literally, like, I think that had to be the overwhelming feeling of Americans. Like, the other night, it's kind of like 340 million people? You ain't got nobody else? Like, I mean, isn't there somebody that's not, like...
Well, it's funny, because, like, on the politics world, like, there was a guy that I liked, and I won't necessarily put it out there just because whatever. But like, and then I was having coffee with somebody last week, and I was telling him how I liked him, and then he was like, he didn't like him at all because he's friends with Nikki Haley, and he didn't. Well, I guess I just named who that was now. But anyway, but you know, so because I like Vivek just because I met him in person, he did me a favor, and I was like, he's a really cool dude. And the guy I was having coffee with, he was saying like, well, I don't really like him because of his policies here and here and here, and then also I don't like the way he went after Nikki Haley because I've been friends with her 20 years. But I was like, well, I don't know. I don't like him for policy. I just like him because he was nice to me, you know. So it's like I'm an easily swayed voter. So if somebody's nice to me, I guess you have my vote.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the main problem
I'm
in
the
America.
problem.
You know, people, they go by what someone says to them rather than actions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's something, education. We need more education overall in this country when it comes to finances, when it comes to politics, when it comes to everything, because I feel like nowadays they go to school and they get taught on how to be on TikTok and how to become famous on TikTok for something so dumb.
Right.
You know? And so I just feel like our education system is broken.
I just don't agree.
Why is that?
In 200 and something years, we
love
have
it.
come light years farther than any other country in terms of innovation, creation, and frankly, just badassness. And the problem must exist because this is a country built on balance. And if we don't have balance, we'll all just become like one person, group, or thing. And then there's no room for anyone else that's not that person, group, or thing. Right now in this country, we need more plumbers than we need freaking doctors. And a plumber, I'm sorry, in general, doesn't have to know a whole lot about stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. I think they should, but they don't have to. And I think we're too busy in this country trying to force everyone into the same damn box. The thing that makes America work is I can be in my box, you can be in your box, and you can be in your box, and I have to be okay with that. Like, I serve this country to defend my right to disagree with you. But I also defended your right to not be chastised, harmed, or provoked because we disagree. And that's what the problem is in America right now. The only problem is we all think we should all be the same when it's a damn country founded on being different.
I think what her point was, and you correct me if I misheard it, is people are overvaluing like the TikTok celebrity culture versus the plumbers. That's what I think. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Well, then I was wrong.
So I'm not sure if you actually have seen, but there was this girl that recently went viral.
Oh, she's an American hero. I know who you're talking about.
Tua.
Exactly. We know.
That's what I'm
We
talking
know
about.
who you're talking. We need to protect her at all costs.
I think that's amazing.
Yes, she's a millionaire overnight from the merch sales. Yes.
Where else in the world does that happen?
I know it's not for the most savory things, but
Like, I don't want to be her dad.
But there was also a lot of rumors and lies about it. I saw I didn't see the podcast. That's the
Barstool
problem.
Sports.
Yeah, I saw clips where she's like, my dad's not a preacher. I was never a kindergarten teacher. You know, so it is funny how quickly the internet can, and that's the world that we live in. It's the whole wag the dog and just lie or
Here's why I think it's
creatively.
awesome.
I think it's awesome as well.
Here's why I think it's awesome. It is her right to do that and not be judged. And I am proud to live in a place where that is allowed.
I agree with you.
And I love politics.
Yeah.
And I hate our choices right now.
Yeah.
And I wish we got back to more people just being authentic. Like you said, you're authentic. You like the guy. The guy was nice to you. The guy treated you with courtesy and respect. Which, by the way, I don't see a whole lot out of politicians anymore. There's no courtesy and respect. There's no, let me sit down with you and have coffee and what are you concerned about? Let me take that under advisement and go vote based off of that. It's like, hey, here's my campaign fundraiser chip. Go ahead and throw some money on that, and I'll let you know how I vote.
But the problem about politics overall is the fact that it's gotten so like contentious and like campy and tribal, where like it's hard. I'm even finding myself censoring myself, not just on this podcast, but online in general, because I have friends that are friends with candidates or people currently in power, and then I have my opinion, and I'm like, out of the respect of my friendship with them, I don't necessarily want to call that out because I don't want to lose that relationship. So it's kind of like,
But that goes back to what he was saying, right? Freedom of speech. And
Yeah.
so I truly believe that it doesn't matter what you think. You should be free to say what you want to say without it affecting your friendship with someone else.
I
have
hope that,
friends
yeah.
from both sides. And like you mentioned, and you know, I've been around everyone
Right.
in Hollywood and
Right.
politics and, you know, pretty big time entrepreneurs.
I feel like I'm left out of a cool story here.
And,
like,
and you know, at the end of the day, I don't judge anyone. I
Right.
don't care what side they believe in or anything like that. They're just great people, and that's why I like to be around them.
Right.
They're extremely intelligent. At the end of the day, everyone has their own opinion, and you should respect it.
here's my opinion: there shouldn't be sides.
I
there
agree.
isn't sides. I think we should all be. Well, hopefully
No,
we're
there's
all
two
Americans.
sides. There's two camps controlled by institutions that you're forced into,
We should do what's best for this country
Yeah.
at the end of the day, and what's best for us.
or maybe what we believe in.
people.
How about that?
Well, and
Right? Like,
so
I don't know. Maybe if I vote for something, I should actually believe in it, not just.
Well, not just that, but it's like some of the things, and this is far off of real estate, but it's fun.
Is it though?
You're right.
Housing policy
You're right.
is going
you're
to
right,
drive.
You're right. You're right.
If the government doesn't intervene and start helping people build houses, we're going to have a big problem. And now, I mean, so here I'll connect the two.
Yeah.
Now you have states like California that are trying to stop the hedge funds from building houses that they intend to rent. So it's like, wait a second, you're undersupplied. Why?
Yeah.
They want to build a $1,500 rental home community where people that don't have a good place to stay can stay. Now, would it be great if someone could altruistically build
And give them
1,500
away.
houses and give them away or sell them for a loss?
Yeah.
It would. So the government should have a grant for that. You want to fix housing, help create more affordable supply.
But the thing is, even if you had a grant for that, human nature, unfortunately, somebody would find a way to take advantage of it.
So I don't know if you've actually read up on this, but in New York City,
I would assume no.
they
but go
are
ahead.
turning luxury apartment complexes into homeless shelters.
Because they're vacant, or just because of policies.
I believe because they're vacant.
Ooh. Well. You know what though? At least they're doing something for the homeless. I don't know how to feel about that. you know?
In general, you cannot use New York City real estate as a metric
Yeah.
for anything.
Right, or politics.
It's just crazy town. I mean, you never know. That developer could be doing that as a tax write-off because he already made $7 billion on the last deal.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, a lot of times, like I have a friend that lives at Madison and 30th, and they're on rent control, and they pay like less than $200 or less than $2,000 a month, and the building continues every year, offers them like 6-digit numbers to move out. Because if they would move out and relinquish their rent control, that place would rent for $15,000, $16,000 a month.
Right.
So you never know. I mean, it could be a shady landlord. I haven't read this story. It could be a shady landlord that's like, all right, you tell you what, you don't want to move out? I'll move homeless people into your building. See how you feel about that. Who knows? I
Yeah.
don't like to speculate on things I don't read, but I'll read it.
Well,
I'm going to look it up.
You know, you bring up an interesting point because, like, before I actually looked at my P&L and I was living in, fairy tale land, I was just like, oh, I want to get a new studio, because, like, I'm not a very good business person.
Well, as an entrepreneur, it's always better to make decisions before you look at the P&L.
Yeah, like, hey, I've got money in my bank account. Let me go spend it. But I was like, hey, I want to go look and try to find, like, because I was looking for a 10,000 square foot building to move the studio. And anyway, in this process, there's vacancies. And I'm like, cool, let's negotiate. And they're like, no. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, this building's been vacant for how long and you don't want to negotiate with me?
Can I tie this back?
Please do.
This is
This is
excellent.
real estate, so yeah.
So this is the reason you have to have a competent professional guiding you, like Yasmin. I need to introduce you to Rich, my commercial broker.
Mm-hmm.
You will be amazed at the opportunities he can find and present to you. We're talking, I'm leasing space very soon in Dallas at less than a third of what their asking price is, and there's free rent, and they're throwing in the furniture. But the problem is, and this is what she was saying, you don't speak the right language.
Right.
They think he's already interested. If we say no, maybe we'll get him, because we know we have to discount the heck out of it if we don't.
Right.
And so I think in this, I know we're going to run out of time. This is probably a good segue. That's why her customers need her. Yeah. Because if you speak the language and you understand the process and the products and the how people get paid, right? If you understand where they're taking extra money just to make more money right now, that's why you need the right person,
right,
to represent you, advise you, and then frankly advocate on you, for you. Wow. Because, and even I hope you're very successful in politics, everyone needs an advocate in all areas of their life.
Yeah, I just wish people would be authentic to themselves and authentic. Like, there's just incredibly too much lying about everything, you know. Go make your dollar, go make your buck, but, you know.
Just be honest about it.
So this thing is
karma.
like, go ahead.
Karma. I truly believe in karma.
Is that the thing in the Chiefs? Anybody? Taylor Swift fans? Karma is the guy on the Chiefs? I love your face right now.
He's
you have
so
no
confused.
Clue. No clue. I love this so much.
Are you talking about Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
Why is it karma?
Because Taylor Swift has a song, and
why I don't know any of her songs, so
it's okay. I'm gonna educate.
I don't either. If that makes you feel better.
I'm gonna educate. Do you know what I'm talking about, though?
I do.
Yeah. So in her,
like, please stop
timeout.
educating
No,
me.
let me finish the segment.
You've always been a girl's girl, buddy.
A girl's girl. I love me some Taylor Swift. But anyway, so she has a song, and when she started dating Travis Kelce, in the middle of her song, she changed the words to "Karma's the guy on the Chiefs," and it blew all the Swifties' minds apart. And they're like, "Oh my god!" And now she does it like every song, every concert. That's it. I'm just trying to get the viewership up.
This episode will be titled "Karma's the guy on the Chiefs."
And it should be. It'd probably get 20 million views. Every video.
You're in charge.
Yeah. Every video will be a Taylor Swift reference. So just to tie it back to real estate,
the Swifties podcast,
yeah,
where we don't talk about Swifties.
You know, it'd be funny. That could be a good thing to do. Is just like always have like cultural references to like the Swifts. Is that what they're called? Swift? Yeah. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Just make sure you do it on a day that she's releasing a new song or something.
There you go. There we go. But back
to put live in like figure out where she's playing live in Dubai. The Swifties podcast,
dude. Like there's
geotag the heck out of it.
Like if she's going, like literally every time I go to YouTube, like if she's live or she's doing a concert, somebody is just streaming it live and it'll have 20,000 viewers live every single time. Yeah. And I'm like, what is going on here? I don't know. I like Taylor Swift, but the Swifties are crazy.
Ray Dalio got a ton of heat on Instagram. He went to like her concert in Hong Kong or something.
Okay.
And he went live on Instagram. And there's nothing like your grandpa going live on Instagram. Like his face is like right here in the camera.
Yeah,
so funny.
Yeah.
They deleted it eventually.
That's fine. So back to real estate. Like what is, like as we wrap up, what is like the one thing that you wish either your consumers knew or the general public knew about mortgages or other than the fraud or other than the taking advantage and whatnot? What are some tips that people can have?
I believe, they have every right to shop around. And so I truly believe that they should always shop around, but start with educating yourself first, understanding what the process actually is. And you can find that online. You can literally Google, what the process is of purchasing a home. Not just that, but also understanding what you're signing, understanding what the process actually means, and what the process means when you purchase the house, because after you purchase the house, it's also a process. Making your mortgage payment, and also sometimes if you call in your lender, they actually are charging you a fee for every time you call them. And that's something that sometimes they don't tell them either.
Right.
So they call in to make their payment, they charge a $20 fee every time. So I truly believe that it is extremely important that you not only read what you're signing, but also on top of that, make sure that you're educating yourself, because at the end of the day, lenders will do what's best for them and not you.
Cool.
Yeah, so as a lender, I will do what's best for me 100% of the time. I do not charge you to call. I love your money. Please send it. But yeah, just I guess I'm the big bad wolf in this episode.
Hey,
It's
that's
okay.
okay.
I own it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I send millions of dollars a week out to people that need it.
This is the Beauty, the Beast, and the Swifty.
I'm happy to be the beast, baby.
Yeah, the Beast Baby. There
No,
you
I'm
go.
saying calling you baby, Swifty.
Ah, Baby
Anyway.
Swift. I don't know.
I'm
Didn't you used to
glad
call me Baby Huey?
I probably didn't. To your face.
I don't remember. I just remember that reference from. Is that Marines or is that might have been Marine days? Anyway,
I
whatever.
don't know. I would never
Off
make
topic.
a joke like that. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
You got to get me in some of these 9-figure rooms. I'll get you in some of my 9-figure rooms. If you have any of your customers that want investment property financing, please call me. Not me, actually. I'll give you one of my reps, and you can be the wholesale broker and all that. But you can call me, too. I'll help you. I hope this has been as confusing for you as it has for me.
It's
It's the best sign off of all time. How can
a
people
great-
do business with you?
If you're looking to purchase a home, you can reach me at homeforceloans.com, or you can give me a call at 817-470-5101.
Perfect.
She's like, I got the money for you. You need a sugar mama? Call Yasmin.
So ridiculous.
More money than you need.
All right. Hey, thanks everyone who watched this episode. Please like, subscribe. You can find me at Ryan S. Harper on all the medias, all the socials. Tim?
At Tim Harridge on everything, baby.
Cool. We'll see you next time.